Hey guys, Adam from Splendid Sports, back for another 3 and 3, and I am joined by Cesar, Pepino man. Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Great. How you doing?
Great. This is a thrill for me because I've written this in comments on your videos before, but I consider you to be the GOAT of sports card YouTube channels. So this is awesome for me because if there was only one channel that I could watch, it would be yours. You're the GOAT, man, for me. You know, I know everyone's got their favorites, but I could probably make a top 10 list, and I haven't seen all your videos, but I think one of these days I'm going to make a top 10 list of my favorite videos of yours.
So speaking on that note, then, did you ever see the one where I pulled a Don Mattingly 84 Donruss out of a ragu sauce?
No, no, but I could tell
Yeah,
I'm going to like it already.
yeah, that's like one of my favorites.
I mean, yeah, like because I'm relatively, considering you've been on for how many years have you been on YouTube now?
Like 5 or 6 now.
Okay, because yeah, I'm relatively new. This is like I don't know, year and a half for me or something like that. So I you're one of the channels that I go back on and I do try to like watch your past videos, but you got a lot of them. So I'm trying to like, I watch the new ones you put out, but I do try to go back when I can. Like that disco video that you made a post. It was like from 5 years ago, and I'm like, man, I never knew this thing existed. This is fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of the things about YouTube. Not everybody watches people's older stuff. That's kind of like what makes it the debate about people with the Hall of Fame, the YouTube Hall of Fame, and people say, "Oh, we want people. Should be people who are like been making videos for 10 years." Like you're not watching their videos from 10 years ago. You know what I mean? You normally just don't go back. Just normally you don't. Because there's so much stuff being done in the present that you don't go back as much.
But I recommend it on your channel for those out there. You have so many videos that hold up over time. It doesn't matter if they were made 5 years ago or whatever. They're just
Yeah.
fantastic. So,
The thing about 5 years ago, I think I used to be a little bit more outspoken because where I lived, it was a little bit more secluded, I guess, with like where the way my house was. As till now, is like now if I scream, I feel like one of my neighbors might call the cops. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what's going on here? Somebody's screaming.
yep,
But at my old house, man, I could make so much noise, and it was a great time.
yeah, man. But I mean, so everyone knows you, but can you tell me a little bit about like if you had to like summarize what you collect right now? What are you focusing on the most?
That's just like one of the things. I don't necessarily think I have a focus. I mean, probably my biggest focus, if I had it, the only thing I write down on paper is my Mickey Mantle collection. That's about it. And then I do my sets. But I hear a lot of people always saying, like, "Oh, I lost my focus on my collecting. I lost my focus." Is like sometimes I think, well, maybe you don't really have a focus. You're just forcing a focus on yourself, but you like to collect everything. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily have a focus, but I gotta say, my goals are Mickey Mantles and sets. And then anything else I come across that if I like it, I'm buying.
Yeah, speaking of mantle, you recently did a video where you broke out the sheet where you have your run that you're trying to complete, and like you're like 2 away, right, from your mantle run.
Yeah, well, 3 away. It's for the tops. It's basically for the tops Mickey Mantle playing days cards. But I'm missing two, like I think two All-Star cards, and then the 52. I don't even play around with the 52. To me, it's like, okay, that's just not even gonna happen. I just don't even count that in there. I don't want to disappoint myself.
Right, right. Yeah. So, but you're like 2 away from your basically your whole list of like you said, not counting the 52, but the two All-Star cards. What do you like? What are you looking for in those? Do you care if they're graded or ungraded, or are you looking for a
No,
certain like
I
condition
really
or
don't
whatever?
care. No, I really don't care. I just want if well, the one of the things with me is I don't buy online. I don't shop COMC. I never shop eBay. All my cards, I try to buy them, in person for majority of it. Every once in a while, if someone sends me a link to, hey, check out this Mickey Mantle card on the Facebook marketplace, and okay, I might make a deal that way. But I don't necessarily by myself search these places online. So it's a little bit harder for me because I try to buy everything in person. So, but that's what's holding me. But I think eventually I will have to just start buying online. I feel like once I do my once I get these last two cards for Mickey Mantle, might shift my collecting ways to buy online and make it easier for me because a lot of people tell me like, well, what do you have against buying online? It's like I don't have anything against buying online. I'm just still doing the way I've been doing things as a kid, but it's getting to the point where it's kind of, I don't know what you want to say, but it's affecting it is affecting me from being effective in collecting.
Yep.
Because the last two cards I need for Mickey Mantle to see them in person when I've gone through all my card shops around here. I've gone through all the card shows that I never see them. It's very limiting. You know what I mean? But I have nothing against people who buy online.
Yeah, I'm like I consider you like a pure collector. I'm like the exact opposite of you as far as like I've pretty much only bought online. I'm trying to change that. That's one of my goals here is well, hopefully to go to the national and maybe buy a few cards, obviously. But I've just been like an online buyer like for basically forever.
Yeah,
Until
there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
A lot of people like to think, what I get asked that question, like, what do you have against people? I don't have anything against people buying all. I go, if anything, I'm doing it the hard way and the dumb way. You know what I mean? It's so much easier if you could do it online, but I just don't. You know what I mean? But I think once I buy these last two cars, hopefully I can find them at the national if I'm able to go. I think I might start buying online.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think the best way to buy it, if you can do it, is in person because you can look at the card and you can see things that you maybe won't see on like eBay. But yeah, it's a little more work to do it. But if you have that ability, yeah. So you think
Yeah,
you're going to
so
go to the national, hopefully?
I hope I can. I'm working on it. I gotta see how that works out.
Oh, that would be great. It's not a national if Pepino Man's not there. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I went on in what 19 and 21. I just didn't go last year.
If you don't mind, just before we get into the cards, could you tell me a little more about your job? I know you got the Dodgers gear on. I've seen on your videos you've mentioned certain things about it, but do you work? So you work for the Dodgers, or what is the?
Yeah,
What is it
so
called?
basically I work for the Dodgers. I'm on the game staff, so I work the games. I work full time year round at USC, and during Dodger season I work the game. So show up like an hour and a half before the game starts. Usually there for another hour after the game ends.
That's a great job,
So
man. That's awesome.
yeah, it really is. It was a dream come true, basically. You know what I mean? But I've been there so long. After a while, it does start to seem like a job.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it's still some of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Because one of the things with me is a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, your first memory about collecting baseball cards?" Like, well, like my first memory is baseball, the sport itself, and that's why I collect cards. But I really do love baseball and the history and stuff like that.
And what a great run the Dodgers have been on over these last whatever several years. They got
Oh,
such an awesome team.
yeah, because I started there in 2006, no, 2004. And before that, I don't think they had been in the playoffs for like 10, 20 years. And
Right.
then after that, man, we just been on a run. Like we've been to the playoffs like almost every year since.
Yeah, you're always in the mix. That's awesome. Well, we if this happens to be someone's first 3-3, this is number 20. Basically, what we're going to do is Cesar's going to show us three of his favorite cards in his collection. We're going to talk about why, and then we're going to look at three cards that are on his want list he sent me, which are really cool cards. And then we're going to pull those up, take a look at some images. But yeah, Cesar, if you're ready with the first card of three of your favorites, I'm ready.
All right, so I'm gonna start with my favorite number one. All right, and this was like a grail card. So as a kid, I had two tiers of grail cards that are attainable, and grail cards that I just thought I could never have. So when you're in high school, junior high, and you don't have a job yet, anything over $100 almost seems impossible if you're not getting that, from your parents or earning that. But the 56 tops Mickey Mantle. All right, this is one of my favorite cards because I used to see it all the time in in Beckett and sports card price guides and stuff. So this is the card that I always wanted. Back then, having at least for me, it just seemed like the rookie. What I didn't go after necessarily the rookie card of every player. I went to my favorite card of every player. And this one, just because I guess I was influenced so much by price guides just showing this card, that this was the card that I had in my head all the time, and I wanted it. And when I bought it, you can see, if you can say, I know my camera's not that great, but there's paper loss here and there's paper loss here. So I remember always reading about that in the old days, people would tape their, use like Scotch tape, but put them in scrapbooks. That's how they collected, because there wasn't pockets back then. So to me, when I saw this, like, oh, this is one of those cards that was, taped up in a scrapbook, and it's classic, and that it means more to me with that paper loss than without it. And this was not the first Mickey Mantle card that I bought, but this is the grail that I had as a kid. So when I got this card, it just made me like, wow, it was amazing. Like I achieved the dream.
It was from would you get it from like a card shop? How long ago?
I think like around 15 years ago, I got it on layaway at this place called Frankincense.
Yeah.
And the reason I was going to this place, Frankincense, is because I try to get my kids into collecting baseball cards, and they weren't really feeling it as much, but they were into a little bit more into the comic books. And my stepson got into like a lot of anime and stuff, and we're going over there to buy comic books at this comic book store all the time. And then the guy told me, hey, there's this if you want more comic books, there's this place. And this place has comic books. It just has everything and baseball cards. And I got to the guy that was selling this, and I put it on layaway. This guy, a lot of the dealers there started giving me layaway. And because around this time, I mean, I think I've got this car for like 80 or $100. But back then, when my kids were still active in school, my budget was probably like, 20 or $40 a week, if that, at car show. So even when I saw this car for like 80, $100, I was like, wow, that's a lot of money for me. You know what I mean? At the time. So when I asked them if they could do layaway, when they did layaway, it's like, okay, every paycheck, I'm going to give you $20. Boom, 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 boom. And then I got it. And it was just like, seriously, was like a dream come true. I mean, I was like, wow, I never thought I was going to have this card. And the paper loss was almost like a bonus for me, because I read so much about how people used to store their cards, in the old days.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for a lot of people, yeah, the 56 tops is, really their favorite mantle. I agree. Like if you just took away, like if all the mantles were the same price and you're just going based on like what card looks the best, 56 tops, man, that it's just incredible. Like the action shot, and man, yeah, that was one of the first ones I ever got to.
Mickey Mantle was the first person to do the Air Jordan pose. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's right. Awesome. All right, we're ready. Let's go number 2.
All right, so number 2 is gonna be this Sandy Koufax rookie card.
Woo!
Right. Now, this Sandy, one of my favorite memories I have of this is the first time I think it was the first time I posted it on YouTube, or I don't know if I posted it on Facebook. But I said, I was just like, I'm not into grading. So I said, the only way I grade, I check to see if my cards are authentic is I lick them, So I would lick this card all the time in all my videos. And one of my favorite comments in the Sandy Koufax videos that I made is somebody said, man, you just made that card could have been a PA6, but you just turned it into a PSA sheet. But yeah, so this card right here, I got it way before I was doing YouTube. And so when I was just on Instagram and Facebook before YouTube, I bought a lot of cards TTM. which means through the mail. So nowadays you hear TTM all the time and it's for autographs. Well, back then when I was on Instagram so long ago, it was people would call me, I'm a TTMer, because I didn't have PayPal, I didn't have any type of form of paying you. I didn't have a credit card. Only way I could pay you is sending you cash through the mail. So I was a TTMer. I pay you through the mail. And this card right here, I sent $500 cash in the mail, TTM. No tracking, no insurance, no nothing. But the guy got it, and a lot of people. I remember I was asking people like, "Hey, I'm gonna send this guy $500. Like, you think it'll be okay?" People are like, "No, this, what happens a lot of times, you send people like say $500, and they say they never got it."
Right.
You know what I mean? But luckily, this guy, he got the payment and sent me the. He actually sent me the card on the same day that I sent the money, before he even got the money.
Wow.
So yeah, just for that, because I remember that little mailbox that I did all my money. I bought so many cards from, in a plain white envelope, going to this mailbox all the time, and just $200, $300. You know what I mean, for cards back then.
You
And
took the gamble, and the gamble paid off.
yeah, yeah. I had never gotten burned. You know what I mean, from through the post office back in these days. But that's why this card means so much to me. It's like I trip out. I was like, wow, I sent this guy cash, $500 through the mail, and it was in great shape. I mean,
Yeah. I was just gonna
I'm
say that
not.
thing's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm. Like I'm not. It's probably a bad thing. I don't recommend it, but I'm probably one of the worst people at keeping cards in great shape. I mean, I take this card camping. I take it to the beach. I took a picture under a waterfall with it. I taped this thing up. I'm making sure no water got in there. You know, and you get a lot of "Whoa, what are you doing?" Kind of reactions from things like that.
Yeah, you don't
But
see too many people licking Sandy Koufax cards.
no, right?
That's gonna be the screen, or the, what do they call, the thumbnail for this video right there. That's awesome. That's a card that's on my list. That um, man, that thing has gotten really expensive too, as it should. I mean, it's a all-time card.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
that
that's one I wish I got that one years back when I was buying some of these other vintage ones.
yeah, that's just like one of the things like I also recommend when people always ask me about sets and collecting a set. I always say start with the most expensive. Buy a starter set of commons, but start with the most expensive card, because that card's only going to get more expensive in the future. You
Yep.
know?
And because this goes out as a podcast too, I don't know if I even said it, but that was a Sandy Koufax rookie. So I can't remember. Maybe we did, but Sandy Koufax rookie. What a card that is. All right, let's go card number 3.
All right. So card number 3, I remember making a YouTube video, a video response video, because somebody wanted an experience of getting a card in person or something like that. And well, I got this Reggie Jackson. All right. From Reggie Jackson. So let me tell the story behind that. Uh, I used to work at this place called Billy Dreams, where they filmed the movie The Benchwarmers. You remember the Adam Sandler
Yep.
movie?
Yep.
Reggie Jackson I think he had a small party, but he was there for the filming. And one day, Adam Sandler, well, that was my job. My job was to drive Reggie Jackson and David Spade around the stadiums, because there were 6 stadiums there, and I was their little driver. I take them from their trailer to the set, just back and forth. And before this time, I used to hate Reggie Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, I was not a Reggie Jackson fan at all. Like, Tommy Lasorda didn't like him. The Dodgers didn't like him. So we were, he had 3 home runs against us, and in a game. So I was anti Reggie Jackson, and I had always heard that he was a jerk too. On top of that, but when I was his driver on the set, coolest guy. He was the coolest guy to me. He was great, courteous. He was a great dude. But um, one of my friends, like that worked, and one of my coworkers went and asked him for an autograph, and he gave him an autograph. And then he asked me, he's like, you don't want my autograph? And at first I was kind of thinking, no, I really don't, because I don't like you. But then I was like, well, and I was like, well, I don't have anything for you to sign. And he's you never collected baseball cards? I'm like, yeah, I did. He's like, well, bring me a baseball card and I'll sign it. And I was like, no, this was this was 2003 or something. It was a long time ago. And I said, no, because if you write on the card, it decreases the value. And he was like, no, that's not true. I sign baseball cards all the time. So he told me, I'm gonna bring you a card tomorrow. I'm gonna bring you a card tomorrow, and I'll show you what I mean. And this is the card that he brought me. So this is the card that he brought me. And so this is the first card that I ever owned with an actual signature on it. And he gave it to me. And one of the weird things about it is so he gave it to me the next day. The next day when I went, Adam Sandler was there, and I forgot. Oh, it was so it was David Spade and that other guy, the guy from A League of Their Own. But anyways,
Tom Hanks.
Adam, huh?
Tom Hanks.
No, Levitz or John Lovitz.
Oh, John Lovitz.
Yeah, John Lovitz.
Yeah.
So Adam Sandler said, like, Reggie Jackson was giving me the card, and Adam Sandler was there, and he's all like, "Dude, why are you wearing a thermal?" And Reggie Jackson's like, "No, it's not a thermal. This is from Under Armour. It's a brand new company. They just sponsored me, and it keeps your skin cool." It's not a thermal where it makes you keep warm. It makes you keep cool. And Adam says, bullshit. You know what I mean? And Reggie Jackson grabs my hand. He grabs my hand. He's like, look. He's like, put your hand on my stomach. So he grabs my hand, puts it under his Under Armour gear, and puts it on his actual stomach. And I'm touching Reggie Jackson's stomach. He's like, it's cool, right? It's cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's not hot at all, because it was a hot day. And so he was trying to prove to everybody else that this Under Armour, like, it was a brand new company, I guess, back in the day, and he was a new sponsor. And so I was touching Reggie Jackson's stomach, skin. It was kind of weird.
Oh, I wish you had a video of that for YouTube.
Yeah,
so cool.
That was cool. But yeah,
I like that set too. I got a bunch of cards from that set. I'm trying to remember. Like, I got the Mickey Mantle. There's a Mickey Mantle auto in that one too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I love that set. It's good. Because I like, I'm not all just I collect post playing days cards too. So I love sets like those that are, affordable, and they got all the legends in them. So that's cool. Yeah, that's an awesome card. Mr. October, who I wondered, because I've heard some things, but he sounds like a really cool guy. That's a great story.
No, yeah, he was actually really good. So I mean, a weird little fact to that is like I don't know if you heard about my Reggie Jackson jersey that I bought after that.
I don't think so.
Well, there was a Reggie Jackson jersey at the thrift store, and it was an iron-on. It wasn't a embroidered. It wasn't a good one. It was just a cheap one, but it had 44 in the back, and the 44 was peeling off. And then when I washed it and I dried it, the last 4 fell off. So I was looking around embroidery places, see if they could replace the 4, and everybody said, like, oh, we don't have that matching 4. We don't have that exact 4. And then I went to this little Mexican soccer place. All they had was soccer stuff. But the lady told me, oh, yeah, we got that 4. We'll put it on. So a couple of days later, when I went to go get it, they put the number 9 on there. So it was 49 instead of 44. It's like, well, now it's not a Reggie Jackson jersey. And lady's like, well, yeah, we had the 9. It looks like a 4. Same thing. And I was like, no, it's not this. No.
Oh, man.
It's like ruined my jersey.
Wow. Yeah, isn't that crazy though, how things change in the hobby? Like, because like we see now, just recently there was some like monster sales of Mickey Mantle, Jackie Robinson on-card autograph cards that sell for like 10, 20 times what the card would if it wasn't autographed. And like you said, it was the norm back then that like no one wanted no one wanted people ruining the cards by autographing them. So it's just crazy that things change. So like in 10 years, 15 years, it could go back to the way it was. Like there's no people think they like things are set in stone, but it could totally change. The companies that people want to grade with, or how they want their cards, how they want to collect them. It's
Yeah.
definitely a
Well,
fluid thing.
people think Nike has been the number one shoe seller forever. It hasn't. People think, you know, we had companies when I was young that I thought were too big to fail. Kmart, you know what I mean? I thought Toys R Us. I thought those
Yeah.
things were going to be around forever.
Yep.
And they go down. Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, you sent me 3 of the cards on your want list, and I got the first one pulled up, so I'm going to share it here. These are right up my alley. These 3 are right up my alley, man. Let me pull this baby up. So what we got here? This is the 1954 Red Heart Mickey Mantle. This is just I know you don't collect graded cards all the time. I've seen you do buy graded, but it's not you don't grade
Yeah.
cards. Yeah. So this is one that sold pretty recently back in January, PSA 3. And this this card. I love this card. It's got a 1952 Topps feel to it, I think. Same sort
Yeah,
of
oh,
look.
definitely, right? I was gonna say that, and I
Yeah.
was wondering, I don't know if you'll see the same thing that I do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this
But
card's classic.
I remember the first time I saw this card, like I never saw it on Beckett or anything like that because they only did like Topps, Donruss, and Clear. So growing up, I never really saw this card. The first time I think I saw this card was on a video by Blue Jacket 66.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing I thought about too, was like 1952 Topps. But one of the things that always sticks out in my head is like, where's the rest of the back? Like they cut off the back. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but this card, I love this card. I really want it.
Yeah, speaking of Dave Blue Jacket 66, yeah, he has on his channel, he has the nicest one I've ever seen. And I think it's a SGC 9, I believe, mint 9, and it is just like, dead centered. And a lot of these have they have like a line, I don't know if it's it looks like a scratch or whatever, or like a
Yeah.
print scratch, like right next to his like to the left of his cap there. So it's like it's pretty noticeable because it's it's in the blue background. So these are very tough. Like this one here, man, this is for like a 3. This one's very good centering and nice color to it. So you could get like this one, they're pricey, but for a 1954 mantle, this one was $1,831 sold at Leland's auction. So, and I've even seen some that sell for under 1,000 that are authentic, or a 1 that still look pretty good. So it's not really as an expensive card as some might think, because it's a 54 mantle card. But I think it's one of his best cards. Really, I love it.
No, I love it, man. Yeah, once I saw Dave show that, I was like, wow, I had never seen that one before, and it's beautiful.
And then I got the Stan Musial in that same set, which is one of the best cards ever in my opinion too, because it's got the the cardinal red background, and it's just like his eyes are red, and it's just like the perfect card for Stan Musial with with the way it's designed. So
No, yeah.
this is a great set.
One of the things I want to mention real quick, and you mentioned Stan Musial and say like Ted Williams with me. That's one of the things I remember thinking about a couple months ago. I was like, you know what? I don't have any Stan Musial or Ted Williams cards. This was a few months ago. I said, I don't have any Ted Williams or Stan Musial cards. And then I don't know if it was you or somebody, but said like, oh, Stan Musial's first Topps card is 1958 Topps. I was like, oh, I have the whole set. I do have Stan Musial.
Yeah. Yeah, the All-Star card is his first 58 All-Star card, is Stan Musial's first Topps card, which is crazy.
Yeah, and Ted Williams is number 1. But with me, that's one of those things. Like I heard you. I remember, when you talk about the registry, that's one of the things to me about the registry is like I right. If you have one card, you could count it to every registry set that it is in, the same card. Right. And I was like, well, that's cheating, because if I have a 1958 Topps Stan Musial, I don't consider it having one in my PC. You know what I mean? Because it's in my binder. It's part of my binder PC. You know, I always say like, oh, those are two different things.
Yeah, there's cards like in the PSA registry that, I don't even know how many, but yeah, they're part of like probably a dozen different sets or whatever
Yeah,
or more.
I always thought that was BS when somebody would buy this one car. Oh, this counts for 5 of my registry. Like, wait, how? You can't take it to 5 different places and say and show them the complete set. You know what I mean?
Right. But that is such a good example of why PSA cards sell for so much more than these other grading companies, is because you have people who really love the registry,
Yeah,
and like certain cards, yeah, if they're in multiple sets, that's why you see premiums on a lot of these PSA, because I mean, it's such a desirable card to have in PSA because now I can check it off, 3 of my sets that I'm trying to make. So it's just got so much added value that thing brings. Doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but yeah, it's kind of just like fantasy sports. I break it out like that, where it's like,
yeah,
when you do a fantasy football league with your buddies, what some of people don't even play for money, but even if you do, what is it like? Everyone puts in $50, so it's like nothing.
yeah,
But you want to win so badly because it's like whatever, it makes you feel good. It's competing against your buddies or whatever. It's got the same idea with the registry, same idea.
yeah.
So yeah, man, this card is fantastic. Maybe this could be a national purchase. I'm sure there'll be a bunch there. So that maybe we could find you a nice one. That'll be awesome. All
Well,
right.
can only hope.
Yeah. All right. So let me pull up, get card ladder pulled up here. This is another mantle card. And man, this thing, well, I guess we call it a card here. 1959 Bazooka Mickey Mantle. Let me pull up find one here. Here's one. All right. This one, 59 Bazooka Mickey Mantle hand cut. This one sold see, obviously these are rare. So the last one that they have in the sales history here was like back in 2022 October, and yeah, it sold for like $2,500 on eBay. But tell me about these.
Well, I like these bazooka gums, and and then in the latter years, you cut them out from the box itself, from the bazooka gum box.
Mhm.
But in the later years, there were 3, so they were smaller. You know what I mean? So these original ones are bigger. You know what I mean? They could fit in their normal PSA size per se, I guess, right, as compared to the future ones. But that image, I love a young Mickey. I read a lot of his books, and I follow his life, and I love seeing pictures of the young Mick. You know,
Me too.
I love him when he's older, when he's in the uh, see Julio down by the schoolyard, because my name's Julio, so I always had that connection with Mickey. He's like, hey, Mickey Mantle's in the schoolyard with Julio. That's me.
Yeah, that is such a great image on there, with the stadium in the background, and like you said, some of his cards, I want to collect all his cards, but yeah, I mean, I've said this on videos before. Some of his cards, especially from like the '60s, he looks hungover and tired, and not the best images on a lot of those '60s cards, but this one is just like, that's a killer image right there. I love that.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
When you read about like Tops and them, when they always did their photo shoots, they were always early in the morning. You know what I mean? So I wonder if Bazooka just did it later.
Yeah, I never thought of that. That's a good, yeah, that's probably true. But like, so I was, because this is one of those that like I knew of it, but I never really like looked deep into it, because number one, they're expensive, but they're so rare that like I was looking at the PSA like pop report on these, and like most of them are authentic, that have been that have been graded or graded authentic. And I think like the highest graded one was maybe like a 7 or something, but there was like very, very few that have ever been graded. So this will be one. I'm sure he probably has it, but Dave Blue Jacket 66. I wonder, do you know, has he ever shown one on his channel?
Yeah,
I'm sure he has one.
yeah, he has everything.
He probably has the 7. But yeah,
So I got 5% on my phone, so I'll probably be cutting out.
All right. Well, we're almost there. So let's go. Number 3 is 1960. This is one I honestly had never heard of this. I don't even know if I'll, let's see, 1964 Challenge, Yankees, mantle. We got, yeah, I don't even know if I'll be able to find a good image. Oh, here it is. Good. All right, here's one from Heritage. So yeah, tell us about this. This is cool right here.
So this card, the first time I ever saw it was at National at 2019. Same thing. I had never seen it before, and I was like, I was amazed because like I say, hey, can I hold that card? Like, can I see it? And the dealer was like, yeah. And there was going for a mad amount of money, like I don't know, $5,000. And the guy just, oh yeah, go ahead. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm holding. But that's the only card I've ever seen in person was at the National. I've never seen one after, but it has always been in my mind. You know, I'm trying to do my once I complete my tops run. I'm gonna go after the Bowmans and some of these more obscure cards. But this card, man, I just thought it was so awesome the way it talked about his doubles, triples, like it's a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's something I had never seen before.
I had never seen it. I never knew of it before you had it here. So this is something I'm seeing for the first time. And yeah, it is just, man, you never stop learning in the hobby. It's unbelievable. This is so cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's a rare one.
64
That one's
challenge
rare.
board
I
game.
want to see one in my life. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is like, well, I looked up the sales history and like this one sold back in 2018 for 430 bucks SGC3. So it's like I'm sure if the next time one of these things comes up, I mean, it will probably go for huge money.
Yeah, I remember the one I saw was like $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah. Yep. So that's another obscure mantle that just is incredible, man. Awesome. Well, Cesar, I know you got a dying battery there on your phone,
Yeah.
but hey, man, I just wanted to let me pull you up one more last time here. Thank you so much for coming on with me here. Do you have enough battery to give us your signature sign off that you do on your videos?
Love the hobby, people. Just keep collecting baseball cards forever, as said. Ciao.